Hello and welcome to episode 1174 of The Sleeper and the Bust. It is Friday, May 12th. I'm your host, Paul Sporer, joined this morning by Justin Mason. Justin, good morning, sir.
Good morning. How you doing?
Sleepy, but I'm doing well. How about yourself? It's even earlier
Yeah,
over there.
yeah. I was up late. I was writing, watching Sopranos. Doing all the things that. Oh man, it's a mistake because it has been such a great show that like I probably finished my work last night around I don't know, little after midnight or something like that. I stayed up till 2.
And you kept,
So I couldn't like turn it off. I'm like in season 3, and I'm just like, oh man, this is just good. So.
so
Uh,
riveting. Great, great,
yeah,
great show. I think it's Jen's favorite show ever. So it's wonderful. But we got some baseball to talk, and we got things to do on a Friday. So let's dive right into it. Got another big call up. It's like one a week minimum right now. The baseball gods are delivering, the prospect gods, if you will. Eury Pérez is headed up for Miami. And, I definitely thought he'd come up this year. I wasn't sure it would be this quickly. But they are known for not wasting their guys' bullets. And, they haven't been the exact same front office, forever or anything. But as an organization, they kind of have a philosophy. Jose Fernandez is probably the most recognizable guy for this, where they're just like, damn, Jose Fernandez is going to be up, and he was up and great. But we're talking about a 20-year-old who has 101 innings, excuse me. No, 106, I was right the first time. 106 innings at Double A. Brilliant, brilliant numbers last year and this year for Eury Pérez. And here he is coming up. Do you think he's up to stay? And how do you feel about the super impressive pitching prospect?
I mean, I would think he's up to stay, and I don't think you bring a guy up like this straight from Double A uh,
To spot
to just
start. Yeah.
to like be up for 2. I mean, obviously, if he's just truly atrocious and he's he's clearly not ready, maybe he goes back down. But
Yeah. Up to stay if he can prove it. Not a spot start is mostly what
yeah,
I'm saying there. Obviously, if he botches it, he's probably going back to Triple A or maybe even straight up Double A.
but yeah, I mean, this is the number one pitching prospect in baseball, depending on who you're asking, right? And some people might put Brandon Pfaadt there, or a couple other guys, but
Grayson would still qualify. Grayson
mhm.
Rodriguez.
So, but I mean, Eury Pérez, of the guys who have not been called up, I think he is the number one
Yeah.
pitching prospect in baseball. He's gonna get $300 bids again this week. I don't know where people are gonna
100%.
find the money, but uh, I'm sure he's going to go. Whatever guys like Tanner Bybee and Logan
Bryce
Allen,
Miller, Logan
Bryce
Allen, yep.
Miller,
Mason
Mason
Miller.
Miller, all those guys went for in your league. You can expect that Eury Pérez should beat that in a lot of places.
I think
So
he'll just be in their world. I don't know if he'll beat it because again, at some point people have to be running out of money on that scale. There will be some managers in every league that have some money, but if they still have their money to this point, they probably aren't spending that big on guys. Or maybe they were waiting for somebody in particular, such as Eury Pérez. But yeah, I'm not going to make the mistake I made with Bryce Miller. Not that I would have won bids on him or anything. It was more of like a theoretical thing of how I thought it was going to go. But I was like, well, we've had so many of these. The prices have got to start coming down. That did not happen at all. And I think that will be the same thing with Eury Pérez. I know we talk about it again week in, week out. Your answers have mostly been no. Is this a guy that you're ready to go the distance with and put that major money on? We can talk directly in terms of like where you're at right now with your ball clubs, but also theoretically, if you were in a position where you really needed pitching, everything's the same as you are who you are, Justin. The way you like to bid is how you like to bid. But say you're desperate for pitching, you're at like 60 hitting
I,
points,
I'm
20
in
pitching.
this. I'm in this position, like in
Okay,
a
I thought you were
number of my
reversed.
leagues.
Okay,
Like
okay.
now,
So
I
you
am
are
like
in this
it.
position. Is
My main
Eury your
event,
guy?
I have 97 standing points, but I
Mm-hmm.
only have 1 point in ERA and 1 point in WHIP.
Okay,
In
I thought you were reversed.
like,
That's why I was setting
yeah,
up this theoretical. But no, you are in this
I'm
exact
quite
position.
literally, and I have money to spend because I haven't been as aggressive on other guys.
You don't have to give away your dollars. You know, some of your league mates probably listen. But, you know, is this the guy? Is Eury Pérez the guy?
I think he is. I mean, I think if I was going to make the argument for a $200 or $300 bid, I think this has to be the guy. I mean, Gavin Williams, I think, is the only other major pitching prospect that we're probably going to see at some point, and we just don't know when that's going to be. The Guardians tend to be a little bit more conservative than the Marlins in terms of bringing up their guys, so they've been more aggressive this year.
I was gonna say they've called up 2 already.
So but because they've called up 2, does that mean they're willing to wait a little bit longer on calling up the third?
They might be running out of space too. Because I think they love Quantrill. I know he and Plesac aren't that different. They murked Plesac. I think they really like Quantrill. He's just done enough.
And I also think that Quantrill's not the kind of guy you really want to be throwing in your bullpen. Like, he's just,
because he doesn't play up.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that I'm going to be aggressive. I don't know if I will be nearly as aggressive as I need to be. I just can't imagine. I mean, if I go to my fab bidding for my main event, I'm pretty sure that every single one of these guys has gone for $400. And so I mean, last week Bryce Miller went for $427. The week before, Tanner Bybee went for $404.
So let me ask you this: what kind of budgets are you seeing then?
Well, and that's the interesting part, because there are not a lot of people in my league who can afford a $400 bid right now. So, but there are still, there's still 7 of us with $600 or more. So there's also 2 guys in my league who do not have $125.
Wow.
Including Mike Masato, who's in my league, only has $88 remaining for the season. It's hard though. I need pitching, like I mentioned, and so I feel like I should be aggressive, but I also don't think I'm not going to spend $300. I just can't imagine.
I don't blame you. You know, we've talked about it a lot, but for those that didn't know, I got Bradley just under 200. That's kind of where I'm at. It probably won't get it done for Perez. I mean, it certainly won't, but that's probably around where I'll be. And honestly, I don't even know if I'll be there, because I'm the opposite. I am the theoretical the other way. I need some hitter to come up and save me, but that guy doesn't exist. And now I'm regretting from a few weeks ago. Even though I got somebody I like, although I can't remember him, so he can't be that good if I can't remember who it was. But I was in on, I got Alek Thomas back, which I am very happy about. But I did have a conditional on Christopher Morel, and I'm like, dang, I kind of wish that would have come through. And I had him now because he opened with a combo meal. But yeah, Perez is going to be a huge bid. Be ready. He is the guy. Like, he can be amazing. He's also a rookie, though, skipping AAA.
And he's shown a propensity to give up home runs a little bit. So, while he has, kind of a 70 or 60-70 grade on his command on our site, he has had issues with command at, stops in the minor leagues. So, this is not a prospect that couldn't fail. There's definitely a recipe I mean, Brandon Pfaadt was, widely considered the number 1 pitching prospect, and I mean, he just got torched.
He got blasted, and it's not looking great right now. People are starting to cut him. It can always go that way, right? It can go Bryce Miller, it can go Brandon Pfaadt, and that's kind of
it can go Mason Miller.
The gamut there. It can go Mason Miller health wise, which that one obviously not terribly surprising given what we had seen. It's super unfortunate. I'm not happy about it or anything, but that's one. I mean, given his trajectory, it's we kind of knew that was probably coming. Anyway, another return. This would be maybe if you want to go bargain, not a prospect, but James Paxton is coming back, returning from for the first time since 2021. Had a little bit of a bumpy rehab in 21 2/3. Struck out 26, which is nice, but walked 16. So you're talking about a 10% strikeout minus walk. Home runs were fine with 2. Hit rate was fine. It was really just the control. What do you think of a 34-year-old James Paxton? Is he somebody that gets you interested as like a, super cheap pivot off of Eury Pérez? Because Paxton's not going to cost much at all, I don't believe. Although he pitches today as well, and if if he pitches well, the bids will go up for sure. We know that. So what do you think of James Paxton?
Yeah, I mean, it's somewhat interesting. I think it's more name value than anything else, considering we haven't really seen much of James Paxton in quite a long time. So I don't know. I mean, he's going to be at the Padres next week. Is that a start you'd even really want to roll him out for? I don't know that I would.
I mean, if he looked okay tonight, I'm not running from it, but yeah, I'm not dying to throw James Paxton at the Padres. I think that's a fair call out there.
So, yeah, I mean, it'll probably be at the bottom of some of my waterfalls. Really kind of depends on some of the other options. And, I haven't done all my research yet for next week in terms of guys I'd be willing to stream and things like that. And we won't, unfortunately, have a podcast this weekend because of Mother's Day. So, I don't know. I'm not super enthused. I don't know how many innings.
This weekend or next?
This weekend.
Oh, okay.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
Cool. Sorry about that.
Get your presents for Mom.
Right. I already got my mom hers, so I'm like way ahead of the curve on that.
Yeah. I got Danielle stuff. It's I got her a decanter set that is in the shape of a baseball and baseball.
That's fantastic.
It's so cool.
That's absolute winner right there. Nicely done. A quick cycle back to Eury Pérez, because when you brought up Paxton, I forgot. I didn't bring up anything about where he's starting. So you might be spending $300. You get Washington this upcoming week. Okay, that's fine. By the way, be careful expecting too many Ks. They don't strike out. They're good. He can murk them, but he might come weak with the Ks. The week after, he sets up for a 2-step at the Rockies and at the Angels. That's really rough.
Yeah.
And, I'm not saying that it's going to bring the bids down a lot, but do you want to pay $300 to already have a decision in the second week whether or not you even want to use them in a 2-step? Because neither of those are good. I don't want to go to Coors, and I don't want to face the Angels. They're good.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind with Pérez too when you're spending those big bucks. I'm not saying you would cut him. I know we talk about the whole if you can't start in a 2-step, you cut. I would understand sitting and keeping, but that's just a lot of money to put out when you're already looking to maybe not play the guy. Another debut I want to talk about. This guy's already up and crushing 4-hit night last night over in your neck of the woods. Casey Schmitt has come up for your Giants, and like I said, is just tearing the cover off the ball, hitting a cool 667. That's not because he's 2 for 3. He's 8 for 12 with a couple homers already, hitting the ground running big time. 24-year-old prospect of some note, not a big time prospect. I know you wrote him in the Roto write-up today. What's up with Casey Schmitt, and are we interested in him? Can he be somebody who delivers some offense, or are we just seeing a flurry right now that might be a little misleading?
I had to write him up pretty much 2 days in a row, on the 10th and on the 12th, because there were only 6 games last night, and there just was not much to write about.
No.
He's going to go for some big bids considering he's already got 2 home runs, hitting 667.
I dare him to have a multi-hit game with a homer on the weekend, and then those bids are off the charts.
Yeah, exactly. If he has another home run this weekend, you might be seeing $200-300 bids for him. I don't think he's worth that.
No.
His calling card is defense. His defense is really, really good, which could give him a lot of playing time. The Giants do like to have good infield defense. They have not had good infield defense recently, so being able to kind of lock up the hot corner, especially with David Villar just being atrocious on the behind the plate and in the field, I think it'd make a lot of sense for them to keep him up.
Schmidt's been playing short.
Well, that's because Brandon Crawford. Crawford's on his way back though. So
okay.
Long term, I think he'll
third.
Yeah, I think he would. Yeah, pop over to third. So there is power in the bat. We've seen it on display already. Problem is he tends to hit the ball on the ground a fair amount. And so unless this kind of launch angle raise that we've seen in this brief stint is here to stay, I would suspect he's not going to hit for a ton of power moving forward. So again, I'll put in some keep him honest bids this week, but he's not a guy that like I'm going to the wall for right now.
Yeah, Casey Schmitt doesn't look like he has a ton of fantasy juice. No matter really how you slice it, might be a batting average driven type of guy, and that's always difficult because you kind of need some good luck there when you're batting average driven. He's had crazy BABIPs.
Shout out to my boy Sam at FWFB. He has been on Casey Schmitt for a while now, and so I'm sure he is loving the fruits of this labor. But like even with 2 home runs, his launch angle is only at 5 degrees. So I think that's indicative of a guy who's not going to elevate a ton.
No, and a couple lefties certainly helped too there in his first 3 games for Casey Schmitt to go ahead and get some cushy spots there to go off, and he looks great so far. We'll see what happens this weekend. Let's go ahead and get into the 2-step pitchers, see what we're looking at this week and where we're starting these guys. Let's start with a guy who's only available in more of the shallower formats because in deeper leagues, Merrill Kelly's definitely rostered, but he's going to get a nice little setup here at Oakland and at Pittsburgh. I know Pittsburgh still in first in that division and everything, but things have really come down here in the month of May. Do you want to guess how many runs they're averaging per game in 9 games? They're 1-8, by the way. I'll tell you that. Do you want to guess how many runs they're averaging per game?
Oh God, is it like 2?
Not even. It's
not even. Oh God, yeah.
They scored over 2 once. So Pittsburgh is back to being cushy. Throw it in PNC as well. You picking up Merrill Kelly as a stream in your shallower formats where he's available.
I mean, I think you got it. He's doing exactly what he needs to do to be successful, which is get a lot of ground balls. But he's still getting a strikeout an inning, which is pretty much the best of his career at this point. So he's not walking a ton of guys. But he's also not walking anybody. So like there is
a ton of guys. You mean because you said he's not walking a ton of guys, but he's not walking anybody. He's not striking out a ton of guys. You mean?
Yeah. No. I'm tired. He's not walking a ton of guys, but he is walking a fair amount of guys. Is what
okay.
Trying to say.
Walks are up a little bit, but so are Ks. Kelly's available 24% at Yahoo. So you're looking at some 12s, probably a good handful of 10s. I'm picking this up. This is a great setup for Merrill Kelly.
Yeah,
I'm all in.
If you can't use him here, you're never going to use him. So.
Literally never. Yeah. So. Okay, yeah, pick him up. We're available. Merrill Kelly at Oakland, at Pittsburgh. Couple of O's going twice here. Grayson Rodriguez does have more availability than you'd think because I know we don't include kind of the obvious names. So I did check and I was like, okay, no, he's 66% rostered at Yahoo. There's availability there. And Dean Kremer, they get the Angels and at Toronto. Not an easy setup. Let's start with Grayson because he's the bigger name of the two. Are you picking him up in your shallower formats for a spot start here? Angels and then at Toronto.
He's giving up almost 2 home runs per 9, and you're now going to go up. Yeah, no, it's not good. Now you're going to go up against 2 of the better power hitting teams in baseball. I think I'll pass.
Yeah, I will too. Again, big name. You might think, oh, Grayson Rodriguez is on my waiver wire. 2-start. Let me get him. I don't think so.
There's a reason he's on the waiver wire.
Yeah. Deeper leagues, I get it. And if you're running him out even in a 15, like I understand that. That's a different landscape. But your 12s and 10s, you should not be seeking this out. What about Dean Kremer? Deep league only here. We're talking 15s and beyond. Gets the same setup there. Angels in at Toronto. He had some velo spike and even some strikeout spike early on. It proved not to be necessarily a new level there. I think the velo has actually held, but the strikeouts have definitely not. What do you think of Dean Kremer in this setup? I can't imagine you love him, though, if you didn't like Grayson Rodriguez, who is easily a better pitcher, at least on a pure talent basis.
Yeah, I mean, he's been better about not giving up home runs recently, but I still don't trust these matchups. And no, this is a no for me.
That's my issue, too, with Dean Kremer. Deep leagues is where you're looking. I wouldn't do it. Jameson Taillon has not been great, particularly since returning from injury. Is it 2 or 3 starts since then? Let me look real quick. It's 2 starts back. They've totaled 5 2/3, so it hasn't been great yet, kind of refinding his footing after missing just under a month. He goes to Houston and Philly. What about Jameson Taillon in any format? Give me the gamut there, shallow, medium, deep, if you're interested at all.
No, I mean, I like Jameson Taillon. I'm not dropping him really anywhere, but I am definitely not using him here. So this is just two tough matchups, and he has not pitched particularly well since returning from the IL.
Yeah, that's my biggest issue is where he's at right now, or isn't at, as it were, and I can't really trust that. So I am also going to pass here with Jameson Taillon. I agree with keeping him in the deeper formats, especially like hang on, like let him get his footing here. And again, we do have caveats to the two-step rule, and this would be one. I'm not saying you should cut him. I also don't think you should start him, Jameson Taillon. Oh boy, here we go. Lance Lynn, Cleveland and KC at home, man. Obviously, anybody who's listened to this show forever, at all, knows this show's fandom for Lance Lynn. It's his birthday today, so be nice. I love when I land on a player's page on BREF and it's their birthday. It's a small little joy because they have the little happy birthday tag on there. Has allowed the most earned runs in the league, has allowed the most hits in the American League, also still has 54 strikeouts in 44 innings. Are you sticking with Lance Lynn one more time here?
I mean, if you can't use them at KC, versus KC and versus Cleveland, both starts at home, you're never going to be able to use Lance Lynn. So this is kind of the do or die. I'm rolling it out.
Me too. I'm going one more.
But this is also the reason why my ERA and is a 5 and my WHIP is I completely understand. Like, there's a question in our Discord, like, should I drop him? And like, I haven't even had the heart to answer yet.
Still depends who you're picking up, but like, I totally get cutting Lance Lynn and not starting this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same position with a guy like Brady Singer, who has been atrocious.
Pitched and well of course yesterday,
was on my bench pitching well.
Understood, but like at least you saw something there.
Yeah.
So. You wanted to. That's what you wanted, right? You were benching him.
Lance Lynn was atrocious in the first part of the year last year, and then pitched really strong. And so I'm holding on for right now. And
in a lot of these outings, it's one bad inning. And again, I'll reiterate because I bring this up a lot. It's like I don't say that to excuse him, but that tells me that he's not that far off. Like the most recent outing, it was a 4-run first. 2 outings ago against Tampa Bay, a 4-run 7th.
The overall skills are fine.
That's what that's why I'm like I'm having a hard time fully quitting, even though these brutalizations every 5th day are pissing me off from Lance Lynn.
I don't remember if it was in our Discord or in the Pull Hitter Discord, which has been a very fun Discord to be a part of.
In that one, by the way.
But someone mentioned like, is he or kind of question, is Lance Lynn having trouble because he's a big guy and not getting as much time in between pitches?
Might be.
So, which that is not a problem that is going to alleviate at some point. So if we start thinking that's the issue, then maybe he should be dropped. But right now, I feel like he's getting a little bit unlucky in home run to fly ball rate. Underlying skills are fine for the most part. I'm not ready to cut bait on Lance Lynn. I totally understand those who are, though.
Yep. I mean, I co-sign that. I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to go with this last 2-step here. This is a big litmus test, though. If he fails this, and there is somebody available next week, I do start to look at a potential cut here. And then even then, I could see myself being like, I am going to go ahead and cut, but I wouldn't even be surprised if he becomes viable down the line too, because again, he's just not that far off. Like, there are the elements there for Lance Lynn. But yeah, I totally get it. A little bit of a fence sit there where we understand if you cut, but we're both going to go ahead and start. Brad Keller at San Diego and at the White Sox. I can't get on the Brad Keller train. What about you?
No, the upside is so limited for a guy who could just destroy you. So, I'm going to pass on
negative strikeout minus walk rate. -2%.
That sounds about right.
Horrendous. That is truly, truly vile. All right, sorry, Brad Keller, get out of here. Noah Syndergaard, home to Minnesota at St. Louis. I'm saying no. You know, if I'm saying no, then like probably nobody should be saying yes. I feel like I'm his last big believer. So yeah, I'm saying no here.
I was saying no before the start of the season. I'm continuing to say
I know
no,
you were.
so.
That's why I went first there, because your no wouldn't change anything. I'm not saying mine would necessarily change anything, but if people are like, I'm riding because Spore's still riding with him, we're jumping off. Grab my hand, folks. We're jumping off this speeding train here that's about to crash. Eric Lauer at St. Louis at Tampa Bay. I've taken to basically just describing where Lauer's at right now, as he's the 2018-2019 version that he was with San Diego, which for context was a 468 Sierra and a 440 ERA, 146 whip. So that has like some deep league stream viability at times, like a guy that is putting up those numbers means he does have good starts at times, but it's always a risk. Is Eric Lauer somebody you want to take a two-step risk on at St. Louis, at Tampa Bay?
No, I not with those matchups. From a general sense, though, Lauer, like, there really isn't very many skill changes. Like, he's almost virtually the same kind of pitcher as he was last season.
Here's the thing. The velo dipped back to that 18-19 level and took those marginal skill gains that he had from 21-22 and reverted him. It shows how fine his margins were with the breakout that he had for the 2 years back down to the guy that he is. It's not that far of a drop. You're right. He's not some, completely different guy. And he could maybe get back to 2021-22 levels, but he's a home run machine right now. And I just think with that lost velo, he is back to the guy that Eric Lauer was back several years ago.
Yeah, and I think one of the main issues is, like, we talk about this all the time for hitters, right? Like, there's these fence scraper guys that either get huge boosts from a live ball or huge negatives from a dead ball. We've got a live ball right now, and he's a guy he's a fence scraper, and so the balls that weren't going out last year are now going out this year, and so while the skills remain, pretty decent for him, I don't think the results are going to get that much better, especially as things start to warm up and balls fly out even farther.
Yeah, and you can't take this start on, particularly with the Tampa Bay piece. There would be some matchups that I could see a two-step for Eric Lauer. This one just isn't it. Yankees got a double set here with Domingo Germán and Jhony Brito at Toronto and at Cincy. Germán's the better of the two, but those are two home run teams in home run places, which makes that very scary. What do you think of Domingo Germán and then Jhony Brito?
No, I mean, I think Germán is negotiable because he has pitched fairly well, but I mean, the one thing he has also still done is give up home runs. He's got a 1.4 homer per 9.
That's his
so
Achilles.
I don't know that these are the matchups you really want to go after. Brito is a guy that I streamed this last week against the A's, and he was doing okay, and then kind of just couldn't finish out the fifth inning. He's getting dropped this week for me, so he'll be the guy I'm picking up, or trying to pick up Eury Pérez for.
Easy no on Brito. I think deep leagues I'm going to roll with Germán. I mean, it's an 18% strikeout minus walk, 4 ERA, 0.96 whip. I get the home run issue and the 2 home run venues. That is scary. But I'm going to take the shot here. 12s, it is more like a toss-up. 10s, probably not. I think you can do something better there. He is coming off 3 straight homer-free starts, 2 of which were against Tampa Bay for Domingo Germán, and he survived pretty nicely, 10 2/3 with 4 runs, 3 of them earned, and 8 strikeouts. So I think he's rolling right now. I am going to be a little bit more open with Domingo Germán. 15s, yes. 12s, probably yes. 10s, I doubt it. But Jhony Brito's a full no. Let's go to Philly. Bailey Falter at San Francisco and home to the Cubs. Is he doing enough to get you interested? Bailey Falter, the lefty.
No.
Is he faltering?
Yeah, he has faltered. He's gone back to being the guy that we thought he was.
Yeah,
which is the guy
swing to strike.
Yeah, and it just gives up way too much contact, and these aren't like atrocious matchups, but the Cubs are good. Like the Cubs are a good
Cubs are really solid.
offense.
Yep.
So like I'm not messing around with this one.
Don't blame you, not in either. Seth Lugo, it's more of a shallow league play. He's rostered fully in 15s. Seth Lugo gets home KC, home Boston. Is he someone that you're picking up in those shallower formats for a spot start here? Seth Lugo of the Padres.
Yeah, I don't think this is a bad one necessarily. Kansas City's not a team that I'm super worried about. Boston,
Let me just give them a little credit right now because they've ruined a few streams recently. They are kind of cooking right now, and every team rises up and has their moment throughout the season. Tigers have ruined some streams this year. Royals are playing well. I'm not trying to say that to change your mind. I just don't want Royals fans being like, "Hey, we're getting no love for what we're doing here with 6.7 runs per game here in May." Just want to give them their little shine.
yeah, no,
And
no
they
love.
beat Lance Lynn. No love.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How dare you?
A lot of that work was against Lance Lynn. So,
Well, I also thought I thought coming into the season that they had kind of a somewhat intriguing offense, and they ended up really not doing much in April, 3.4 runs per game. So this uprising is not completely out of pocket to me. It does include 3 games against Oakland, mind you, but their double-digit outputs have come against Chicago and the Orioles. So just saying.
I mean, the Royals are kind of in this position where the Pirates were probably last year, right? Where like they're starting to get the pieces together, and you could see them being really intriguing as an offense. Maybe next year, maybe they had 1 or 2 more pieces, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, this Royals team's not half bad, and they still got to figure it out in the pitching, but Pittsburgh seemingly has started to figure it out on the pitching front too. So I think the Royals are probably like another season or 2 away from being like really competitive. But in that division, like you and I could be on a team that's competitive. So
hot take here: Royals offense is better than the Pirates offense right now. Not just playing well lately. I think it's gonna be better from here forward.
Especially without O'Neal Cruz, I think
obviously that's a big cut. But I just think Pittsburgh kind of coming down from their high, and now this KC team finally getting some guys rolling. Olivares, a couple homers for Massey long after I cut him, of course. Michael Garcia called up. Prado doing some things, of course, with the guys that we expected to be good in Witt, Pasquantino, Perez, and Melendez, as well as the top 4. So we'll see how they go. That said, I'm picking up Lugo. He's only 43% at Yahoo, so lots of availability. Definitely scooping him and probably trying to hold him as more of a team streamer in those formats. I'm surprised he's that available. I guess his whip is running a bit high and he doesn't have a ton of Ks, so it makes more sense when I kind of look a little deeper, but I'm definitely picking him up for the 2-step here. Seth Lugo of the Padres, home to KC and Boston. What about Sean Manaea? He gets home against Philly and Miami. He is, peak streamer in that you have no idea what you're getting.
I streamed him this week in one league, and I thoroughly regret doing that.
Yeah, it did not go well. Washington is one thing to not get the Ks against Washington. He didn't get the success either. He got absolutely murked, and that's the thing.
Washington's decent against left-handed pitching, so it was probably a mistake to stream him just in general.
Manaea's downturns have been bad.
Yeah, I do not want him.
Okay, I don't either, and
matchup.
I couldn't
even within being Miami, like he should probably be on most waiver wires, even in 15-team league. So this is like NL only.
Yep, another big name who has fallen on hard times is Jack Flaherty. That his control is just not there. The dominance isn't there. 5 walks again this last outing after. He had the 2 big walk games early on, 7 and 6, tamped it down for a while with between 1 and 3, although no zeros, by the way, which is pretty rough. And then this 5 here. Milwaukee and the Dodgers, I think it's a pretty easy no, but curious where you're at on Jack Flaherty.
Yeah, that's a no. I honestly, I don't think I have an issue with people cutting him at this point. So
not at all. He can be your guy you cut for Eury Pérez.
Yeah.
Yonny Chirinos has been getting an opener, which is nice because we're always harkening back to that Yarbrough season, that special Yarbrough season when he got like 16 wins with the opener. We would love to see one of their best guys get it and just see what they could do. Chirinos isn't too bad as far as just kind of pure talent. However, his skills so far this year have been pretty wonky. He's also rocking a negative strikeout to walk ratio, which I don't really get. I'm torn though because again the results have been there: 2.22 ERA, 0.99 WHIP, with a negative 1.1% strikeout minus walk. Yonny Chirinos gets at the Mets, home to Milwaukee, could have an opener as well. I'm kind of intrigued by this despite the horrendous strikeout to walk ratio. Am I nuts for kind of liking Yonny Chirinos in deep leagues?
I mean, I guess you're not nuts, but like I just don't see where the upside comes, right? Like he's 3 strikeouts per 9 right now, which is absolutely. I mean, usually like I don't even want to start someone who's got like a 6 strikeout per 9.
I agree. No, I'm with you there.
And while this isn't like the worst of like 2-steps, it's not a great 2-step either. Like Milwaukee hits righties fairly well. The Mets have a lot of pop in that lineup. Like I could see this going,
yeah.
And I just don't think that the limited upside is worth the extreme downside.
Yeah, that's pretty fair because like even a return to where Chirinos has been is a 20% K rate, which in per nines is like low to mid 7s, maybe upper 7s, but still not special. So yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, I'm talking super deep. I can get in on it. I'm not beyond 15s. So that's a really niche market there. I do have him in the main, and I've been kind of parking him a little bit, just hoping that the skills would turn. But even his last outing, where he went 5 innings, 2 runs, and then, when I was kind of looking at the box score, I saw 4-1 at the end, and I thought it was 4 strikeouts, 1 walk. It was 1 strikeout, 4 walks. I'm just like, dude, come on. And the game before that was 5 1/3, 3 runs, 4 walks, 0 strikeouts. It's going to come back to get Chirinos if he doesn't turn quickly here. And so, yeah, I think even with this 2-step, even if he gets an opener in both, I can't do it. So, yeah, you've sold me to tamp down my excitement there on Yonny Chirinos. What about Dane Dunning? Gets a 2-step at home, Atlanta and Colorado. So 1 tough, 1 easy. Or should be easy at home. Dane Dunning filling in the rotation. Been a fan for a while. I'm in on this. What say you? You going for Dane Dunning here?
That Atlanta start is really scary to me. You
totally
love
agree.
the Colorado, you getting the Rockies on, not in Colorado.
Rockies on the road for them.
Yeah, Rocky Road, as our friend Nick Pollock would call it. Like that is about as good of a start as you can ask for, especially when you pitch in Texas, and that's a great place to pitch. But man, that Braves lineup is just so scary. And as much as I've always been a Dunning kind of guy, he doesn't strike anybody out. Like he strikes more guys out than Yonny Chirinos. So like putting him at after that, like you go, oh look, the strikeout rate is still, it's 16% at least, but like 16% is nothing. Like I don't know that I want to risk the Atlanta start, and so I understand why people are going to risk the Colorado start. And if you're playing in a daily moves league where you can just pick him up for the Colorado start, I definitely would do that. But that Atlanta offense is so good. I'm not messing with it.
I don't blame you.
Not a guy who's got such limited strikeout upside.
I definitely don't blame you. I get that inclination. I think my only thing is that the landscape is such that it's not easy to find guys. And I am talking deep league here with Dane Dunning. So, I mean, I think that's why I'm going for it, at least in the waterfall, right? If I'm not getting the Eury Perez's of the world, and I need somebody down at the bottom of the list, that's where Dunning comes in, or at least in the middle of the list. So I am in for 15s, but I'm not going to go specking in anywhere else because, like you said, it is a very difficult first matchup. And he might need an absolute gem against Colorado just to soften the blow of an Atlanta flop. But he's been pitching well, and so I grant the risk. I'm taking it with Dane Dunning. All right, this is more of a start one as opposed to a pickup because, I mean, He's probably getting cut in some shallow formats, but it's not wide availability for Alek Manoah. So again, this is more of telling people whether or not you would go for the start for Alek Manoah. Yeah, he's only 6% available at Yahoo. He gets the Yankees and Orioles at home.
Oh man, this one hurts because
bad.
Yeah, because I mean I was a big Manoah guy coming into the season, and I really felt that projection systems were not giving him enough credit for doing what he does. I mean, I'm not cutting him just because I'm stubborn and I'm mostly playing a lot of
like a 5th rounder too.
Yeah, you spent a good price on him, and I think I'm probably rolling him in 15s, but like in 10s, like I don't know how you start him this week.
Are you cutting him in like a 10?
No, I don't.
I don't think so either with Manoah. I'm just wondering. It's
I understand.
On the table.
I understand people wanting to do it, but I'm not willing to do it.
I'm not either. I mean, it's bad. I can't give you anything from the profile that's really gonna warm you up on Manoah. I think you got to trust the track record of the first 2 years, more than 41 innings worth. And while it has been bad in the composite, it hasn't all been bad. There have been great starts mixed in here. Only a couple, literally only 2, I would say. And then a couple decent 5-inning, 2-earned ones, although one of those had 3 unearned runs in them, and then the other had 4 walks. So even those had blemishes. And then the other 4 starts are just awful. So yeah, Alek Manoah, I'm gonna keep him, but I don't know if I'm gonna start him anywhere. Maybe 15s. I agree with you, kind of in the Lance Lynn thing, where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna trust the track record, but at least Lance Lynn's even showing something like with his strikeout.
Yeah, so the skills are not good with Manoah, and another guy that you wonder if the lack of time in between pitches, because he's just a big guy, is also having an effect on him. Because I mean, he's having these. You'll start off a game good and then get shelled in the 3rd inning. It's like, oh, is he just tiring out really, really early because he doesn't have time to rest? Like, it's just a miss for me. Like, I'll eat the crow when I'm wrong. Like, I've been wrong on Manoah, and unlike Lance Lynn, like I don't necessarily feel really good that he's going to turn around.
I don't see the path out. Yeah, not as readily as Lynn. Lynn is like fixing the 1 bad inning issue, which maybe it is a stamina thing that you're saying, where he kind of needs to pace himself, figure out how to work within the clock, and avoid that 1 blow-up inning that he's been having most games. Manoah is just a complete mess. Patrick Corbin and Josiah Gray both have 2 steps, but they have different series because Corbin gets a wraparound Monday against the Mets and then Detroit, and then Josiah Gray gets at Miami and home to Detroit. So let's focus on Corbin first. And believe it or not, I think there is some viability here, and that's why I did want to actually talk about your boy Corbin. And I say your boy because you liked him years ago, not necessarily this year. But Mets, Detroit, both at home. Corbin pitching kind of well. Are we actually picking this up in deep leagues right now?
Oh, gone. So if you cut off the first 3 starts of the year where he got hit around a little bit, he's got a 3.56 ERA and like a 109 WHIP, I believe it is. Double check. Yeah, 109 WHIP. You're not getting a ton of strikeouts because he is allowing a ton of contact, but he's doing a really, really good job of not walking guys. Only 3 walks in his last 5 outings. He's not giving up a ton of home runs, only, 4 home runs in these last 5 outings, which isn't great, but it's way better than Patrick Corbin has been the last few years.
Exactly.
I think, this is like a 15-team stream.
That's definitely where I'm at with it. I don't even think that you're messing with it in 12s and below. This is 15s only for Patrick Corbin. But
this feels like it is one of those like traps, like it's just like, oh look, Patrick Corbin is back, but he's not really back because he's not back to what he was prior to just completely falling apart, which is a guy that could get a ton of swings and misses outside of the zone. He's not getting that. He's allowing his defense to kind of pick him up,
and
it's not a great defense behind him either. So like I feel like he'll be in some waterfalls for me because it is a decent two-step with the Tigers, like second most strikeouts in baseball versus left-handed pitching.
But where's their WOBA against lefties? Is it not pretty solid?
It's decent. Like their OPS is they're 19th in baseball.
Okay.
Their WOBA.
Pardon me. It's a recent thing. They're 4th in WOBA last 30 days, and that's what I do on the SP charts last 30 days. So I knew they were up, but that cuts off some of the early. So if they're 19th for this,
they're 19th in WOBA against lefties.
So if they're 19th for the season, it seems like the Tigers had a bad like first week against lefties, and since then have been cooking. I'm not saying that's the reason too. Like I'm still attacking the Tigers with streams. I think I could go for He's going to be in the waterfall, like you said. He's not going to be at the top of any list.
No.
You know, obviously you got Eury
He's
Pérez.
Probably one of the last choices in most lists.
Exactly.
I think you start having,
quote unquote.
Yeah. This is like how deep of a waterfall do you want to do, right? Like, are you okay with Jhony Brito rolling out another week? Or do you want to pick up Patrick Corbin is, I think, the question. So, like, I don't know. I think I'd prefer him over Jhony Brito because the starts that Brito has. So.
Yeah, I absolutely would. I would prefer him over Chirinos, over Falter. We didn't recommend Falter at all. Dunning or Corbin?
Corbin. Higher strikeout rate, weirdly enough. And you don't get to go up against the Braves, who I do not want to mess with.
Damn. I'm going to lean Dunning, but your case is compelling. Corbin or Kremer? Corbin over Kremer.
Corbin.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's definitely in play, but I think this is also one of those situations where, like, if you could find a guy with one really good start, like if I could just do like Dunning for the Colorado game, it would be Dunning, and and it's not that particularly close. So I'll be more like seeking out good one start, streamers over a guy like Patrick Corbin. But Patrick Corbin will be on my list of bids as a backup.
Let me give you a little extra flavor on maybe wanting to get Corbin at KC the following week. And again, I know I talked about how they're actually playing well of late too, but it's not enough to make you run from them with guys that you think are viable. And again, want to reiterate, Corbin, 15 team only here. We're not expanding beyond that. This is strictly deep leagues.
The one thing I will say, Kansas City is top 10 in WOBA and OPS versus left-handed pitching this year.
And in the last 30 days, lowest strikeout rate. So just saying, but it is at KC. I just want to point that, it's a good venue. Could be a decent matchup, but they are hitting better of late. Credit where it's due. So yeah, we're kind of in on Corbin. He's going to be in the list. He's not going to be a high target. Josiah Gray still has availability in shallow formats, not available in deep leagues really at all. He gets at Miami and then home to Detroit. So an even better setup. He's one of your guys, so I know you're going to be confident in him. Are you picking him up in 10s and 12s to go for this? And then the question beyond that, because I feel like you're probably going to say yes, are you holding as a team streamer in those formats?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think he should be rostered in every league. I don't care if
it's only 45% at Yahoo. Widely available Josiah Gray is.
I think he should be rostered. I mean, you've got a lot of other guys who are, not pitching well. I mean, as much as I said I'm not dropping Lance Lynn, I would much rather have Josiah Gray than Lance Lynn right now. So, I think that people are just a little bit slow on the trigger, and they're making a mistake here. Josiah Gray has pitched really, really well. And he's done a great job of keeping the ball in the yard, continues to do so. I love Josiah Gray right now.
Yeah, worked around a little 4-walk action last time out, but still not giving up the homers, and that's his biggest issue. As long as he's keeping the ball in the yard, I think you got to be happy with what Josiah Gray is doing.
And my number one guy on this list today, is Josiah Gray. Like, if I had to rank all these, Josiah Gray is the number one guy that we talked about today.
I think I agree. Yeah. And I do think shallow leagues are slow to move. He should not be 45% rostered at Yahoo. It should at least be like 75, 80%. because what isn't he doing right now? Like the Ks are down a little bit in exchange probably for some of the home run suppression. I will take that. 40 Ks and 45 and 2/3, but a 2.96 ERA. It's a 134 WHIP because the walks are still there at times. But again, I think it's worth it. And he's even gotten 3 wins on a difficult Washington team. So you're getting the best you could have possibly asked for from Josiah Gray. I think you got to have him. So, all right, that's going to wrap it up there. 2 steps for the weekend. No Sunday pod with Mother's Day. Enjoy celebrating with your mothers or wives, the mothers of your children, for those of you where that's applicable. And you and I will be back on Monday.
Can't wait. Take it easy.